Hello, welcome to another edition of XFeed. My name is Schiller. If you guys have never been here before, we do a daily live stream where we kind of recap all the happenings within Web3 and the NFT land because things are ramping up, and we've been doing this since the start of the year. Today, we have a special guest in VGF who's going to be joining me here in a momentaro, and the topic really of the entire timeline, if you haven't seen, is the announcement where Pixel Vault and Yuga Labs have partnered up, and it sounds like Reboot, the chain that or the protocol, I should say, that Pixel Vault has created is now getting brought to the Ape chain. And if you don't know all the details around that, well, it's been a hell of a while seeing all of these things happen. So let's kind of go through some of the announcements, and then we'll bring VGF here to discuss. So Pixel Vault made the announcement off the rip saying, let's run it back. PV and Bored Ape Yacht Club are partnering to bring Reboot GG to Ape chain. We're here to pour gasoline on other meta and more. And a huge shout out to Chris Wall, the artist. If you guys haven't seen, he does some of the most phenomenal stuff in the game, has a very lengthy history, but it's cool also from my perspective seeing this because it does have the Moonbirds, it's got Wolf Game, it's got the dots that are part of Pixel Vault, some of the meta heroes, or sorry, VGF, are we still calling it meta hero, or what's the inhabitants? What's I just want to clarify.
It is meta hero.
Okay,
Always
cool. We went, yeah, right. I have some of the original merch with that as well, but it's really cool to see that all of this kind of coming together. And I remember when the announcements for Moonbirds came out, I remember I was like kind of like, but seeing the IP built within these other things and knowing, what's going on, it feels like, it feels cool for the first time after not feeling so great about it. But Yuga Labs having a announcement as well saying Other Side is preparing for its next Odyssey. Yuga is proud to partner with Pixel Vault to bring skill-based wagering to Other Side meta and other future products via Reboot GG. And then Crypto Garga, Mr. Gargamel from Yuga Labs, YoRDL, good morning, said, stoked to share that we've entered a deep partnership with our friends over at Pixel Vault. This time, we're bringing the Reboot protocol onto Ape Chain so it can be used for Other Side and other products we've got in the hopper. For those who don't know it, Reboot is a protocol for enabling cash and crypto-based rewards for skill-based games. Imagine battle royale experiences where different players and teams are wagering on who will be the eventual winner, or wagering added to trading card game tournaments or other skill-based on-chain games. The possibilities are endless as we head into this next chapter of Other Side, enabling first-of-its-kind action gameplay with unheard of concurrency, 3,000 plus player team fights, and other insanity. Integrating the protocol with Other Side just makes sense. Yo, Atari God, good morning. We're working together to make sure Reboot can be used in Yuga-developed experiences, but also UGC-created ones via the ODK. Reboot is also its own permissionless protocol, so it will also be available to other third-party devs building on ApeChain. Have tremendous respect for G-Funk and everything he and the Pixel Vault team have built in Stoke 2. That, as part of this, Pixel Vault's flagship game Battle Plan will be joining us on ApeChain. So, before we dive into G-Funk's response to all of this and kind of his announcement with it, VGF, thank you so much for joining. Garga's comments here, talking a little bit about how it's going to be these massive 3,000 plus experiences, and it feels like the momentum is really starting to pick up in the entirety of Web3, and obviously with ApeChain and now Pixel Vault joining up. So what's kind of your initial response to seeing all the mass I don't know, I guess cheering you guys on right now?
It's been nice, to be honest. We were quiet there for a minute with the announcement of both Battle Plan and Reboot, shifting of chains. This has been, in the works for quite some time. So to finally get it out there feels good. The reception has been awesome. It kind of feels like that full circle moment of bringing it back around to Punk's Comic 2 with the Adidas Yuga Pixel Vault collab, and that some of that energy definitely feels like it's coming back with bringing Ape Chain, Yuga, TV, and Reboot all together under one roof.
And it really talks kind of about the interoperability aspect because I felt like we've, I mean, we can argue about like community being a buzzword and all these different things, but the interoperability and the connections and just everything that we've kind of seen within Web3, we've had partnerships before where it's like, hey, there's kind of, these small integrations and whatnot, but now it feels, hey, the technology is there to really kind of help push everything forward. And that's really neat to see. So jumping over to G-Funk's thread on this, he says, I strongly believe that today's announcement marks a 1+1=3 moment. Pixelvault has excelled on the technical front. Bored Ape Yacht Club has excelled in brand, IP, and community. Together, the sky is the limit. When Crypto Garga outlined the 3 pillars for Yuga's future, number 3 hit different. And in quotes, 3 degen shit. Gasoline poured on top of 1 and 2. I thought to myself, just hand me the match and watch Reboot GG cook. Pixelvault has endured many battles to arrive here today. 3 years later, featuring some epic wins and losses, the path has not been easy. Survive and adapt. Among those whose vision, passion, and grind I respect most. Crypto Garga. There are many people in crypto that make a bag and go F off, never to be seen again. Not him. I don't know his personal finances, but he certainly didn't have to retake the reins of CEO at Yuga Labs. He came back facing mountains to climb because he cares. While crypto has provided many of us with amazing opportunities, the work is also incredibly difficult. He said it best when he characterized it as eating shit sandwiches, yet it also is incredibly rewarding to deliver for those who have put faith in your team. And so in the words of Jensen Huang, as entrepreneurs, we must wake up each day with a clean slate, forgetting the troubles of yesterday, looking forward to the future with renewed energy, and ask ourselves, how hard can it be? Our history together is long. We broke ground together with our Adidas deal, which VGF just mentioned. Now together we will tackle bringing Web3 gaming to the masses. Approachable with the degen twist that attracted so many to crypto in the first place. Pixelvault X Yuga Labs X Reboot X ApeCoin. Reboot's skill-based wagering platform will be given the chance to shine on ApeChain, flexing Bored Ape Yacht Club IP, powering the likes of Other Side Meta, and more. Combine that with PV's hit gameplay Battle Plan, now with more visibility, we are really cooking with gas. And guys, if you haven't seen, I have uploaded a video in the past where we actually played Battle Plan. It was pretty fun. The opportunity is unique. AAA gaming type experiences and Other Side Meta meeting skill-based wagering via Reboot. If we execute, there's magic here. But this goes far beyond Pixelvault and Yuga Labs' commitment to the Reboot protocol. We'll be empowering other developers to leverage a suite of tools to allow for compliant, skill-based wagering for any game. Our good friend Chimpers will be the first to join us. For those wondering how this impacts the token, GG will remain the foundation of the protocol and allow users to participate and benefit from core business functionalities of the services. As for gameplay, Ape, USDC, and more will be enabled to ease onboarding with partner Privy. Pave the way for mobile gaming via app stores and provide utility to participating communities. ApeChain is just around the corner thanks to Arbitrum Horizon Labs, Calder XY, and the Chads working at the ApeCoin DAO. Okay, so holy smokes, everybody's writing a bunch of threads. Apologies for having to go through all that VGF, but one of the things that is crazy here, you got to break it down for me. So the token, we got the chart up here. It looked like it took a complete dip potentially when the announcement made, and now it's absolutely roaring. So were you watching when this happened? Did everybody have a sell the news event, or what's going on?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I was busy on the timeline and Discord, but when people brought it up, it was kind of funny because people seemingly took it as a sell the news event before the pump occurred. So like, take that for what it may be, but it's certainly been an entertaining afternoon to watch. But there was a couple of points between Garga's post and G-Funk's thread. I kind of wanted to double click on a little bit because
for sure.
Just read the Yuga announcement, the Pixelvault announcement, it may not be as clear because the Yuga announcement kind of alluded to it a little bit in that with the Pixelvault partnership, it's bringing this skill-based wagering to the Other Side and other future products. But in reading Garga's thread, you get a little bit more insight into what that may entail with Yuga's endeavors, and obviously with everything that Pixelvault has going with Battle Plan and more. So very excited that all of this is kind of being brought together, and what Garga had touched on with the ODK. Reboot going to Ape Chain is not just Pixel Vault. It's not just Yuga. Uh, Obviously, with Chimpers being the first, there will be other developers that are able to leverage Reboot on Ape Chain. That is the part that I think is kind of like the reading between the lines a little bit. Um, that it's the optionality and the development kit, the tools that are being built that will enable these other developers to have these wager-based, skill-based systems readily available to them on ApeChain. That I think is the most exciting. That people may not be, uh, you know, letting settle just yet. I think that's one of those things that won't be as obvious until people like get their hands on it and feel what that looks like.
Well, the aspect that they're bringing on the wagering component, and I'm trying to find the exact tweet for that, but I'm horrible at multitasking. I think that's super interesting because I mean we've had sports betting and all that really kind of pushed in the we'll call it Web 2 world, and now seeing the opportunity where for your friends for these different games. I saw somebody within the Discord here, Daniel G posted the screenshot within the Pixel Vault Discord. Someone asked, can someone explain Dragon, alluding to Project Dragon, which was also announced today that it was happening or like launching one of the experiences with an other side, saying, is it like Roblox for DJs? People can build on top of it or something? And G-Funk responding saying, Dragon will be the first look at what other side can be. It's going to be a 3,000 person simultaneous shooter. Garga referenced it in his tweet. Yeah, it's going to be insane, and we are going to make it so you can wager on your team. So again, it's something where if you have faith, the aspect of the whole degen crowd, and I would argue that also this is potentially one of the perfect times for it, because I mean, as for anybody that's been following the stream for a while, we talk about all the different happenings, and Blast was a huge topic that everybody kind of just demoted to, oh, it's the degen crowd, it's the degen crowd, build something for the degen crowd, and then seeing this where you have that with Reboot and Yuga not necessarily having that side of things is really, really interesting. So when do you kind of foresee us to be able to see these experiences on the Project Dragon? Is that going to be the first thing, or what's kind of like the timelines from your understanding?
So basically, like with the launch of ApeChain, I'm unfamiliar with Yuga Labs direct timeline or what they have working with Project Dragon. I'm not sure if that's a play test or the anticipated launch, so I don't want to speak on their behalf, but at least as far as battle plan and some other things go, we're definitely looking to get up and running as soon as ApeChain mainnet is live.
Okay. And for people that are like interested in getting more into the Pixel Vault ecosystem, is it you go and you grab the GG token? Is it you go and grab some of the NFTs? Because obviously there's Wolfgame, there's Meta Hero, and I believe there's several other ones as well, but I'm forgetting off the top of my mind. What's kind of your suggestion or what people should look at if they are interested?
NFA DYOR, but I would think that GG is the most general, broadly applicable.
And that's only on
because
Arbitrum
not
too,
only
right?
is it, but that is like the broadest exposure because it's not only Pixel Vault, but everything that is building on Reboot, including Yuga with the other side and others. But as far as like battle plan goes, uh, eagerly anticipating when battle plan will go back live because there are quite a few new characters to be rolled out with that relaunch, uh, building up towards the generative identities being unlocked in game.
From
So for
Chris
those
Wall
with
too. From Chris Wall, right? He's the artist behind those.
correct.
Nice.
Yes, sir. And so those generative identities being unlocked in game is like the big, like pivotal turning point in my mind for battle plan. And so as soon as it relaunches on ApeChain, we're kind of on the ticking timer until that moment. As we progressively add all of those additional cores, all of those new attacks and things like that are working towards that end goal.
And I'm just going to throw a video here in the background of when I was streaming some of the battle plans, so you guys are able to see that. But if I remember correctly, one of the things that came out regarding battle plan was the aspect that you could rent out your character. Is that still in the works? Because I thought there was some around like Q4 this year that was coming into place. Or can you speak to anything regarding like the Meta Hero NFTs?
No updates as far as the timing go as
Okay.
of yet. Still too many kind of factors and variables with the launch of 8 Chain and obviously getting Battle Plan back live first. But yes, that's still the direction that we're headed in. Just a couple of prerequisites to kind of check off all along the way first.
Nice. And how's Goose Eggs doing? I know that he was kind of the big player that you guys brought in for all the gaming divisions, and obviously this has kind of expanded to much more. So I'm just kind of wondering how that relationship has been with you guys.
Oh, dude. Well, one, he's the fucking mad scientist genius that has been working behind the scenes and getting this all kind of going in the same direction. Um, but he's also, been contributing on the Wolf game side of things as well. So he's definitely been busy, definitely had his hands full. Just because Battle Plan was paused did not mean that development has stopped. Uh, the devs have been fucking jamming this whole time. So if you're curious of some of the updates on that front, on the Battle Plan account, we did post a dev log with some teasers of some anticipated new characters and skills that'll be dropping when that does relaunch. So particularly excited there. We do like the cats. The cat attack is definitely an internal favorite. Um, and yeah, I mean Goose will be making the rounds and kind of being more active on spaces again as well. I'm sure. So
Awesome.
if you have questions, we're always jamming with the community in Discord. That's probably the easiest place to ask your questions or jam with Goose if you have thoughts.
So one final thing before I let you go here, and if you have any specific kind of sign off you want to have, I'd love to hear it. But the aspect of okay, so Pixel Vault acquires Wolf Game, and then Wolf Game ends up moving over to Blast. Now we have the reboot protocol and Battle Plan moving over to Ape Chain, but GG was on Arbitrum. So there's like three kind of networks that this is on. Obviously, a lot of talk about like interoperability going on, et cetera, et cetera. But like, how should we kind of view things? Is Pixel Vault looking at kind of being this multi-chain facet, or do you think that everything's going to end up moving over to Ape Chain now?
A couple thoughts there. One, I do believe that multi-chain is the future. As far as the token goes, ApeChain is developed on Arbitrum, so it does have the compatibility with the GG token being on ARB1. So no concerns or any bridging or anything to be worried about as far as like user experience goes there.
Best guest of
And
the
yeah,
year.
we were super excited with Wolf Game to kind of take it over to Blast and take advantage of the opportunity there. The Wolf Game community's been jamming and have really liked the kind of resurgence that they've had, not only in activity but in just gameplay that we've had with the updates on that front. Really looking forward to all of the updates and the reception for when Battle Plan is back in the gamers' hands again.
W. And while you're saying that, Boomer coming through with 100 bits saying best guest of the year. I agree. VGF is the man. And Poker Pro Eric, hello. So VGF, I don't want to take any more of your time. I can imagine you're probably making rounds and whatnot because this is a super exciting day. So congrats to you and the team. But is there any kind of final send off or notes to people that have been paying attention to the announcements or kind of passively should know about this?
Just a quick thank you, for having me on. The reception on the timeline has been awesome. To apes or game developers that are curious to hear more about Reboot or the development that we have going on Ape Chain. My DMs are open. Definitely hit me up. With using Chimpers as an example, they had some legacy gaming experiences that with Reboot were able to enable, that skill-based wagering aspect in gaming experiences, that they had already pre-developed. Definitely looking forward to some of those more custom experiences that will be enabled once that toolkit is out and available to other devs as well. So if you have any inquiries or questions about how that can fit in, or how your game may fit in, my DMs are open. Hit me up.
Hell yeah. And for anybody that's happening to listen on audio and want to hit him up later, I do have the visuals of his X page here. VGF, thank you so much for coming on through, and hope to see more of you on the timeline, sir.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Of course. GG. Yo, that's the new sign up for everybody. It's not, yo, have a good one. It's GG. Okay, guys, let's go into some of the other headlines. Now, one thing to note as well that is happening or did happen with Pixel Vault, I saw a lot of people that didn't even realize this was going on, but within their Founders DAO, they had kind of like a redemption where if you sent in a Founders DAO, basically they split however many people sent in Founders DAO between 25 ETH. So very interesting to see. As I've kind of alluded to and mentioned in the past, it's interesting that we kind of had a wave where, and this is like a while ago, that we had different DAOs pop up, and I had friends group that were doing them, and it's felt like it's been very, very quiet on the whole DAO idea. Not really sure why, but really cool to see Pixel Vault having a kind of a big vote in that regard for that. Okay, some Immutable X news here that's going on. Oh crap, I still need to burn my punks for GG. That back open? Yes, it is back open. So if you need to go do that, I think it's like reboot.gg, right? It's got to be the URL. Maybe it's not. Don't get scammed. Check the official links. Mortal Rising 2 is launching on Immutable ZK EVM powered by Polygon. What in the hell is this? So I clicked on it and I'm like, okay, 17,000 views. Like, this looks pretty decent, but it is a dark fantasy idle RPG. What the hell is an idle RPG? I actually don't know. Like, genuinely don't know. And I'm trying to like scroll through these things and like, is there actually any videos? Is it just, hey, here's like some animations and whatnot? I need to look into it because this is the first time I'm seeing, but just the aspect of everything seeming to launch as we're seeing just now with the Yuga Pixel Vault. We're seeing almost every single ecosystem come out and launch things. Ember Sword as well, which we'll get into in a little bit, but things are happening in the Web3 gaming space. Elio Trades with kind of a funny take here. Learning to detect sarcasm online is a basic evolutionary skill. If you can't tell it's a joke, you are now the punchline. I agree. And I feel like just in general, the whole things you say online, like my dad responds to me and he says like the letter K. I mean, like he's not done it recently or anything, but I used to think like, okay, like, is my dad mad at me? Because like as a younger person, whenever you got like K from somebody instead of like okay is like O and K or like OKAY, like there's these things you can't tell anymore. You have to be so locked in and aware of all of the things, or you just become the punchline. All automated, think Diablo, but you're doing nothing. What fun is that? Is that like a variation of AI? What in the hell? Okay, so crypto back in the headlines again regarding politics. Donald Trump says he does not want to let another country take over Bitcoin and crypto dominance. One of the main problems that we've seen within the US, most of the people that are genuinely building something, including Coinbase's Brian Armstrong, I said, what the hell's going on with US regulations, et cetera, et cetera. So interesting to see those comments being made. Trade on chain with Mr. Miggles. So I have no idea what the hell this is. I haven't done research. Apparently there was a coin that was launched that was not related to this whatsoever, that is absolutely pumping like hell over this. But why is Coinbase launching something to do with a cat? Why did somebody do this on the cat? Yo, Boomer, have you said K to me before? Over. The stablecoin market is picking up steam. The total stablecoin market cap is over 164 billion as of, well, I guess this is the end of last month. In Q2, roughly $2.8 trillion in stablecoin activity took place, the highest it's ever been historically. This number was less than $500 billion just 3 years ago, highlighting the growing demand for stablecoins. And as you can see here in Q2 24, the transactions using stablecoins have been rocketing. So people saying, hey, are we in a bull market? Well, I mean, if you go back to 2020, I mean, barely anything, but the exponential growth has been not like, look at these curves. I mean, not me, the curves, the chart curves. Yeah. Get your mind out of the gutter. But seriously, this is kind of like back when Top Shot was around, right? And I'm just using this as a reference for when like I got into it. It was like, whoa, hold on, what a second. There was like 500 of us, and now there's 30,000 people that are interested, and the whole market really kind of took off around that time. So Ember Sword had its closed beta, but now it's open for everyone. Some of the stats from it, they had 10,000 play sessions with 7.8 sessions per player with an average play time of 121 minutes. These are just kind of random facts so you can compare if other people put out stats, because I haven't seen this too much. But chat messages sent in game, over 11,000 of them, 138,000 items crafted, and resources gathered 300,000. Kind of crazy to think about the amount of things for something that, I would assume didn't have a crazy amount of players. They created a crazy amount of items. Next week, the Ethereum ETFs are launching. There's been a lot of takes on the timeline. Apparently, there's upwards of 10 different ones that are launching. I think Bitcoin came out at like 8, if I remember, and then I think a couple other ones were added afterwards. Callie was saying, friendly reminder that we didn't see up only immediately after the Bitcoin spot ETF started trading. Price went up leading into it, followed by a couple of weeks moving lower afterward before things really started to rip again. Point being, if we don't see green candles across the board next week immediately after the spot ETF launches, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Apparently, last time I said Katie was July 15th. That was 3 days ago. Unbelievable. I'm unfriending you. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to assume all of you guys have seen the Doodles trailer at this point. And so I made a post saying, yo, give me a rating out of 10 for it. So I'm curious if you guys have any specific ratings, but I actually like this one from Fastest Gun, that like broke down, hey, we're judging it based off of different things. So animation, 9 out of 10, story, 3 out of 10, universal appeal, 2 out of 10. So I agree on the animation. It's very high. The story, I didn't really get. And again, I like, my big complaint was they had a vocal track that was, sorry, I should say a music track that had vocals in it playing in the background while people were talking, and you really had to listen to what was being said. The universal appeal is interesting because it felt like everything was happening very, very fast, and it was quick paced. It didn't really have any sort of a slow vibe. I get that it's a trailer. But I mean, I thought the characters look cool, but like with the story and like the vibe of it, I mean, we'll kind of see with the evil dark goo person off the beginning. We'll see what it does. But again, most people absolutely loved it. As a non-holder, animation 9 out of 10, story 4 out of 10, appeal 5 out of 10. Okay, Boomer. And we saw also the Doodles Marketplace. There was like a huge sweep that ended up happening after an initial crash, similar to the GG token that we saw a little bit earlier, where it was, this notion of sell the news. And it's weird that we've seen now twice where there's been a sell the news event that is proceeded to not be a sell the news event. Guys, not to get freaky on you, but we might be back. Assuming 20% of cans featuring Doodles, apparently I missed this, but apparent Doodles in Arizona has some kind of collab together, and you can see some of the designs on there, which I think is kind of cool. That's 2 billion possible brand exposures and digital experience scans to build on top of the animation and music drop. Wow. So this is wild, because I think the other day I saw like a TikTok or I don't know where the hell I saw it. It might have been on X, but it was the founder of Arizona talking about how they're profitable, they're not trying to price gouge, and all this other stuff. And I was like, okay, like that's cool, because and to clarify, they're not like upping the cost, because apparently Arizona drinks are like $1, and obviously with inflation, Dollarama, it's not freaking $1 anymore. It's $1 plus. Crazy. Anywho, I wonder if like Doodles is like, hey, here's an absolute bag. I'm gonna throw some of the branding on what you guys are doing to make up for it. Maybe that could be a play. Maybe. But cool to see. One of the Grails also selling for Doodles here. One of the Rainbow Pukes that one of them sold for 100 ETH at a point. I or 100,000. I forget what the exact price was, but one of them selling for 5 ETH, $17,000. Guys, the market is just not marketing yet, but cool that we're seeing some uptick in the grails. Parsec Finance giving us a little bit of a lowdown. The NFT market is dead, apparently, or at least the volume is steadily declining, even though it seems the floor price, not all right. Declining posts, Blur Season 3 awards. Both of the charts below are 90-day look back. The top is volume by marketplace and bottom is by collection. So as we saw with the stablecoin chart, it felt like it was just kind of a massive up and then held for the most part. NFTs, at least on these past 90 days, the volume is dwindling, but at the same time, it feels like within the past week or 2 weeks, we've had either announcements or collections saying, hey, our big launches are coming. So we have had kind of like a stalled out period besides Blur and people farming the markets. Excited to see what comes out, what people care about, et cetera, et cetera. All right, Charles comparing a couple of collections here with Doodles at 2 ETH. My head's in the way, apologies. Azuki at 4 ETH. Bored Ape Yacht Club at 9.3. And then Pudgy Penguins at 10.6. And if you're aware of all these collections, it's interesting because I feel like we can make the arguments that each of them have had success in different things that we're doing. I would say comparatively, we've seen probably the least from Doodles on a bigger stage. Obviously, the trailer came out, but I felt like most of the stuff that they did before was very much Web3 oriented besides the announcement of Pharrell Williams. Azuki, again, the connections to some massive anime creators, the merch I always thought was really, really cool. I feel like in Asia, they have a huge presence. Bored Ape Yacht Club, obviously, people touting it as kind of one of the big collections that started it all. They've done the Ape Fest. They've had the massive amount of celebrities. And then Pudgy Penguins. Right now, I feel like they're probably like the hottest collection that there is out there, from the Walmart to the, we were looking at fairs where people had Pudgy Penguin displays and just the amount of airdrops they've gotten, et cetera, et cetera. It is... I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but I feel like these are like arguably justifiable differences right now. But again, the market could get hot at any time, and one of the collections could get hot at any time, and that switches up quick. Pudgy pulling away, crazy. And I mean, remember the early days when Luca took over? I don't know how many people realized what would end up happening from that acquisition, but I think a lot more than anyone expected. So we highlighted the other day, but Gods Unchained is up 186%. This was like the other day, so it's down a little bit. I was trying to look it up earlier. Hold on. Ember Sword. Again, their open beta starts. Tokens up like 1.5% or what? Oh, wait, I'm not. What the hell am I doing? Gods Unchained, bruh. Where are they going to the wrong thing? But it's down 8%. So we see massive upswings and then downswings. No idea why, but goes from like 2 million volume up to 11 million volume, and people still have no idea why that's the case. If anybody can explain, we're all here. Some interesting news from Walker World. If you happen to have a fluff egg, you're able to stake that or soft stake it for ooze, which you're able to purchase other NFTs within. One of the things that I've been most critical about in the space is for any of these collections that have a, whether it be like a lot of funding or the stature, right? Which, we could use Azuki, the Doodles, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of them don't really have anything for like holding it. And so I think this is cool. Obviously, Walker World isn't fluffs, but the fact that they're doing something for the fluff eggs is really cool. Now, do you remember a time back in the day when people used to care about collecting? I remember. We used to collect the LaMelo, the Luka, and the LeBron. The 3 L's that were W's. That was my shtick back when we did NBA Top Shot. But this guy posted saying, it took me a few years, but I finally own 10% of my favorite NBA Top Shot moment. Now this guy owns 10% of a Kyle Lowry 3-pointer common. Yo, that's crazy, bud. That's absolutely crazy. Boomer, I'm sure we'll get some news in a day or two, insiders getting positions. Well, I'm just curious, like what can happen with Gods Unchained that would bring such an uptick, right? Like, unless it's like, is it the game? I think the game's fun, right? Like, I actually thoroughly enjoy Gods Unchained, but I don't know why there would be such a massive influx of that. Yeah, I have no idea why. People are crazy. So WonderFi here again, a huge Canadian subsidiary buying a whole bunch of the exchanges within Canada that are compliant, et cetera, et cetera. Today, we've announced the launch of WonderFi Labs. WonderFi Labs will develop, incubate, and invest in on-chain applications that drive client engagement through the company's expanding range of channels. Okay. People, I see. I'm not on the inner circles of the whole VC conversation and whatnot, but we're back with a whole bunch of money flowing in the space. Unless this is just like a one-off, but the amount of announcements of like venture funds and people having all these things to help support growth of certain networks, like it just feels like everything is happening. Okay, Ender saying global IPs are coming on chain. Proud to launch this with our ecosystem partners, Core Protocol, which again, I hadn't heard about before. It's got less than 3,000 followers, but apparently it's backed by a lot. So it's got Black Mirror XP, Niantic Labs, which this is massive because these are the people that did Pokemon Go or are doing it. Pixel NX, forging the future of entertainment, and $1 billion. Or sorry, I guess 1 billion in IP partnerships to come on chain, network of 100 million plus active users. And this is something to do with Animoca. Now, there was a clip that we played on XFeed here a while ago. While you guys are here, if you can like the video, appreciate the hell out of you. He specifically talked about how there's one protocol that is doing something on Telegram, Ton. I think it's Ton. And he made the reference about how they're trying to bring 100 million people on the chain and like now type deal. And so with all these like 100 million plus verbiages being used, it's very interesting to me. And the aspect that we just saw, the Yuga and Pixel Vault collaboration, how much does this expand? Is it something where everybody's going to be playing nice with each other? Is it back on the timeline when people are slinging shit? Or what, you know, what's kind of the future going to hold? Because there is all these massive amount of different things happening. And is the future actually going to be interoperable? Yo, NFT responsibly. Are you being responsible? That's crazy. What's going on? Fun fact, Horizon Labs and Mochaverse represented over 70% of all voting ape chain in the latest AIP cycle that ended last night. Okay, so this is important. Horizon Labs and Mochaverse represented over 70% of all voting ApeCoin. And this is talking about the ApeCoin DAO, different people that are submitting proposals. I could go in and be like, yo, I want ApeChain to sponsor XFeed. I'm gonna throw logos everywhere, and let's try to be reasonable. Say 500 ape, which is like $500 or something a month, right? And I could get rejected just because Horizon Labs Mochaverse says that Schiller shit. Yo, that guy's a lunatic. And that's kind of crazy to think about how one-sided it is. I don't know how you even fix that. Obviously, there's been some proposals that have gone through that have been awesome to see, but one of the big complaints, at least I've seen on the timeline, is the fact that it's been kind of monopolized that way. Definitely troubling considering 605 million ApeCoin in circulation, so less than 2% of ApeCoin supply more or less decides every single DAO vote. I don't think it was Yuga's intention to have its launch partners control the ApeCoin DAO. NFT Jerry put up an AIP recently that I suggest everyone checks out that aims to restore the balance of power in the ApeCoin DAO. It's not perfect, but it's a start. Now, this kind of goes back to it's like a centralized organization, right? But it's funny because it goes back to, if you put like the dots together, you can kind of see everything. I think maybe I am a lunatic. But when Garga came out and specifically said Yuga was taken over by the VCs, is this exactly the prime example that he was talking about? With like Horizon Labs, they helped them launch the token, and I guess they gave them a friggin' shit ton of the token. And Mochaverse, obviously Animoca, put in some big money into Yuga, and now they have so much of the coin. Okay, well, the VC impact. Garga was right. So what makes NFTs valuable, says whale.mocha? Is there a rational thought behind the way we price NFT projects? Nah, you guys are crazy. Absolutely not. But this is a fantastic graphic, and so super kudos to Whale if he made this. But it shows the floor price, the chain, the collection size, how many followers they have. If you can kind of compare, Pudgy Penguins has 156,000 on X. Doodles has 391,000, where Chimpers has 57,000. And again, it matches the corresponding price. Now, is that always going to be the case of more followers equal higher price? Well, maybe. But going over to Instagram, this one gets really nuts because we see kind of like a flip where Pudgy's got all the way up to 1.5 million, and then Doodles is actually the bottom of the three at 309,000, and then Chimpers at 540,000. And the Pudgy Penguin reach is apparently 232% for community reach, which is according to NFT Inspect, which I don't know if that means like the people that rock a Pudgy Penguin as their PFP. I don't know how they find out those like inside things, but the most notable, arguably, is the Giphy views. So if you ever try to respond to somebody and you're like, I'm going to respond with a GIF of some sort, the Pudgy Penguins ones have been used 24.7 billion times. That's insane. Doodles at 829. To be fair, I haven't really seen many Doodles ones on the timeline, and I can't say I've seen any Chimpers ones besides like people that are, you know, like I follow that have those collections. I've seen them, but Pudgy's is the only one that I've really seen outside of this space. And so just looking at that, holy guacamole. Okay, current squad goes hard. Pablo Punkasso. Got 14 punks. Guys, not to do quick math or anything, but CryptoPunks are like 100K, right? So this is like a mil plus they're just sitting on. So again, the question is, would you rather have $1 million plus worth of ETH or 14 CryptoPunks? That is the question. That is the question. Seen some other grails being sold. A Clone X number 15371 going for $32,000. These are one of the ones with the Jeff Staple shoe design, if you guys remember those. It's got the Murakami drip, two of the traits for that. But damn, people are out there and spending. 1 million in punks is nuts. So fully agree. Yet see you here responding to a CoinDesk post that says a day after Hong Kong Mago, whatever that is, said it was processing the applications for a part. Wait, is this Hong Kong? I'm assuming it's Hong Kong. Official Twitter account for the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. Okay, that sounds important. Said it was processing the applications for participation in its stablecoin issuer sandbox. It has announced 5 entities, including Stanchart and Animoca brands. And yet, CU is saying stablecoins is a critical link to facilitate mass onboarding into Web3. It's a privilege for Animoca and Mocha Network to be pioneering part of this, and another demonstration of Hong Kong establishing itself as a leader in Web3 blockchain and digital assets. As I've said before, man, just watch these stable coins. People are putting a ton in there, and I feel the liquidity follows suit. And this is kind of nuts because, again, for the Mochaverse NFTs, well, I mean, if Animoca is a part of like launching a friggin' stable coin and they're able to give portions of that to people, or we just make all this normal, the barriers are being broken. Holy friggin' smokes. Now, I don't want to FUD, right? We've had a good stream. I don't want to FUD. But we're going to FUD. Of course we're going to FUD. So Inhuman is talking about Ember Sword, saying Ember Sword is by far one of the most disappointing Web3 games I've ever play tested. Holy jeez. For this to be an open beta test and not a tech demo means there is zero substance or quality to the game whatsoever. Completely wrecked. Now, I'm going to be honest, the screenshot they took here looks like they're just standing in the middle of nowhere. Now, if this is what the entire game looks like, oh man, we got problems, right? We got problems. So maybe I'll go and try it a little bit later, but Ember Sword is out. One of the other kind of big ones that have been touted really back in the day. I mean, Gilded Guardians, Ember Sword, Illuvium, Pixel Vault. Well, I mean, originally they talked about some different experiences. Now we have Battle Plan, but the point being is we've had all of these games that have been touted for like a really long time, and now we're able to play them, experience them. And Illuvium, as an example, is saying next week is like their official like full launch. And so we're at kind of like different stages where everybody's being super hypercritical of things. And I mean, that one, I don't know. The Ember Sword one's not looking too fantastic right now. But that's going to be it for this edition of XFeed. Mr. Boomer NFT responsibly, and RDL Atari God, and Mr. Eric, if you're still here. What? and the halibut buffalo space coming through. Yeah, bro, like 2.5 weeks ago or something, Buffalo, I like hit the end button and then you said something in chat and I'm like, I feel like a fish. So I'm glad that you're here and we can say hi. I tried to play some Emberstorm beta today and it's beyond terrible. Okay, so it wasn't just a fudlet. That's the new terminology. When anybody FUD, you're a fudlet and it's FUD points. That's the way that it works. I know, freaking fish. So that's tough that Ember Sword's not doing well, but the token's up 1%. That's all that matters, right? Oh, anyway, that's it for me. Enjoy the Call of Duty championship window. Hell yeah. If you guys don't know who the voice of that was, the one and only LeVar Ball.